Leadership is not a title, it's a choice. Let me explain. When you hear the word leadership, who comes to mind? Is it a celebrity, a national figure, the president, a civil rights leader, someone whose name that you recognize, right? Maybe someone standing at a podium giving a TED talk, or maybe someone leading during a time of crisis. But leadership doesn't begin on a national stage, it starts long before that. Let me explain. I'm reading a book recently by Kouzes and Posner called Everyday People and Extraordinary Leadership. And while their message is simple, it's powerful. So let me explain. Leadership's not reserved for a select few. It's not something you're born with. It's practiced by ordinary people who choose to act with integrity, courage, and humility and purpose when it matters most. Leadership's not about position. It's about influence. Let me explain. One of the clearest pictures of leadership actually comes from Jesus. He's a historical figure and the greatest leader in history. Imagine he kneels and washes his disciples' feet. No title, no demand for authority, just public service, selflessness, and stewardship. Pretty simple, right? The moment reminds us that leadership starts with character, not control. It's not authoritative. Leadership starts with character. So before you can lead others, you have to lead yourself. Lead by example, right? Kouzes and Posner actually talk about this, and they emphasize credibility as the foundation of leadership. People follow people they trust. It's that simple. And trust is built on character, integrity, consistency, and something that you're going to hear me say a lot, humility is the key. A national example of this would be George Washington. Washington could have seized power after the Revolutionary War. Instead, he stepped away, not once, twice. That decision shaped the moral foundation of American leadership. His authority didn't come from force, but it actually came from restraint. That's leadership rooted in character. So when we see these same principles mirrored in Moses, he doubted himself. He felt inadequate. Yet it was funny because he kept going to God and he was like, God, I stutter and I'm not perfect and this. And he kept making all these excuses. Well, it's funny because God didn't choose him because of his confidence. He chose him because of his obedience. And that was the key. So, leadership does not require perfection, contrary to what most people think. It requires honesty and self awareness, self reflection. Strong leaders don't pretend they have it all together, they're vulnerable. They know who they are and they're willing to grow and learn. And that kind of leadership builds trust. Why? Because it's real and it's authentic, and people want to follow authentic people. Leaders model the way and inspire others. People don't just follow words. You got to put your money where your mouth is. They follow examples. One of the central practices of Kouzes and Posner, they identify that the model is the key to modeling the way. Leaders set the standard through their actions, not through their speeches. A clear national example is Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln led during one of the darkest moments in American history. He carried the weight of a divided nation, yet consistently modeled humility, moral clarity, and resolve. He listened to opposing viewpoints, admitted mistakes, and he anchored his leadership in principle rather than popularity. And it seems like a lot of leadership today tend to follow the easy route, which is popularity. So leadership, real leadership, rooted in authenticity, is not popular. People followed Lincoln because his actions matched his convictions, which is another powerful example. We can also see this through MLK Jr. Dr. King did not simply speak about justice, he lived it, he suffered it, he modeled it. What courage was costly. He led through leadership that inspired others because it was rooted in sacrifice and not self promotion. Kouzes and Posner explain that leaders inspire when they connect values to action, and vision becomes compelling when people can see themselves in it. This applies far beyond politics. In families and workplaces and churches and communities, leadership inspires when it's lived, and it consistent is the key. Being consistent is the key. Humility is the key. It's being humble rather than being loud. Some people think it takes being loud to be heard, but that's not the case. Leadership's built through relationships. It's more relational than it is strategic. One of the strongest findings in Cousins and Posner's research is that people perform better and commit more deeply when they feel valued. They'll bring more to the table. That means listening to people matters. Care about people. A modern national example of relational leadership is Ronald Reagan. Reagan knows and was known for his ability to connect with people across ideological lines. He communicated clearly, which is another key. Communication. He listened to people. He made them feel heard and seen, even if he disagreed with them. His style emphasized encouragement over intimidation. Strong leaders don't hoard power, they actually empower others, they give it away. Delegation is not a weakness, it's an action. Extraordinary leaders do not begin with a title or a platform or a permission. It begins with a decision to lead with integrity, a decision to serve rather than dominate, a decision to model the way when no one is watching. Cousins and Posner remind us that leadership is not about extraordinary people. It's about ordinary people choosing to be extraordinary through their behavior. The leaders we admire most did not wait to be perfect. They chose to be faithful. The world does not need more titles, my goodness. More titles, more degrees. It needs more people willing to live what they believe. Leadership is not a position you wait for, it's a choice that you make. Leadership's not a position, it's not a title, it's a choice. And that choice shows up long before anyone gives you a title. It shows up how you treat people when no one is watching. It shows up in everyday life, whether you lead with integrity when it would be easier to stay quiet. We have a lot of these moments in today's world where you can choose to be quiet or you can choose to make a difference. It shows up through your actions. So the real question is what kind of leader are you choosing to be today, no matter what life throws at you?